Welcome to Keep Stream Skip Podcast. Hello, everybody. This is Keep Stream Skip. After trying to deal with computer issues, this is our 50th take. I don't know. But we're back, and all three mics are working. Instead of two, like the last episode, we made some improvements. We tried to sound deaden our studio a little bit more. And we're back with some summer films. But before we announce all those, we just want to say in memoriam to Donald Sutherland, who's was President Snow in the Hunger Games, and also he's Donald Sutherland is the father of Kiefer Sutherland. So thoughts and prayers and all that good stuff. Also, we are missing out on Mr. Mole, Martin Mole, who played Colonel Mustard, but he was in a lot of parts. He's done everything from Roseanne on up, and just played this nice, affable kind of guy. But the three films we have today is
on June 29th, 2024.
Yeah, I should probably introduce folks, huh? So my name is Nick, and if you didn't know from the first episode. And with me here is Samantha, who just spoke, and Juliana.
Hey.
Thanks for the save on the date, by the way. Sorry about that. I'm trying to play catch up here because of the stupid errors of the program. But anyways.
Damn technology.
Yeah. So it's getting me all jacked up. The intro was perfect, I swear. Yeah, no. Yeah. But anyways, we got summer films, and we're going to do some retrospectives on three of them. Each one of us picked what we would consider like the pinnacle of summer film. You can agree or disagree, whatever. It doesn't matter. But what we have is High School Musical 2, and we have Weekend at Bernie's, and we have also Friday the 13th. Meow, 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 meow. That's a callback from Baby Cat.
We love Baby Cat.
If you didn't
Smelly
listen to the
cat.
first one, you need to go back and listen to the first one.
And then stream Baby Cat.
Well high. Definitely well high. So without further ado, we're going to give you our first review. High School Musical 2 is Juliana's pick. The movie came out in 2007, right before the Great Recession for all those elder millennials out there. And it's a musical comedy romance, I guess. I mean,
Always.
yeah,
Yes.
It's all the above. It was written by Peter Barsacchini. I hope I said that right. Barsacchini?
Bersaccini.
Directed by Kenny Ortega, and stars Zac Efron and some other people that everybody else has forgotten, like Ashley Tisdale and Vanessa Hudgens.
They are not forgotten.
They're doing
forgotten.
something, but I don't know. What are they
Vanessa
doing?
Hudgens is actually in a lot of Hallmark Christmas movies.
So forgotten. And
We love those. Come on. Stream them.
so
Stream them, definitely.
you can find, again, the date is 6/29, so things may have changed since the last time we spoke. But you can find this film on Disney Plus. So Juliana, why don't you take it away?
All right. So this is actually the second High School Musical film. And it actually got a budget of $7 million to make this time around, which is amazing. We have our East High kids out for the summer looking for the summer jobs. They actually get hired at a fancy country club, but find the work conflicting with their fun summer plans. Troy finds himself especially conflicted when Sharpay meddles in his relationships under the guise of helping him get ahead in life. And Troy has to tackle with this his future plans versus this sense of self quickly in order to save his friendships and relationship with Gabriella.
So Troy, played by Zac Efron, and Ashley Tisdale plays the Sharpay, which is so messed up. That's her name.
Sharpay?
Yeah.
It's very typical white girl, pick me,
Well,
rich baby.
yeah, but it's a dog breed.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Yeah. A Sharpay? I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
That's what kind of made me think. I was like, wow,
she's kind of a bitch. So
that's what I was saying. Yeah.
So I guess it kind of fits.
It
if you
fits,
think
really.
about it, then.
Yeah, they were
Parents
putting
that
all
are
this
up for that.
subversive stuff, which I will have my commentary on that later. I'm still sticking to my guns about the boss.
Oh God.
So that all happened, and we were going to go over. For those who didn't see the first episode, it's watch.
Woo!
For those who didn't listen to the first episode, maybe one day will be seen. I don't know. We go over things like screenplay, direction, acting, and special effects, and our overall. And then, just like the title suggests, we all rank them and say whether we would keep it, stream it, skip it. Last time we forgot to put in our fun facts, so we'll be doing that too as we go over everything. So I'm excited to do that. Let's go ahead and start out with screenplay.
All right. Yeah, no, I would go ahead and rank the screenplay a 9 out of 10. I think for especially, yep. Yeah, you can look at me all
I
you
gave
want.
an 8.
Yeah.
Schindler's List is a 10. Let's put this out there.
Yeah.
What?
And High School Musical 2 is up there.
It's a feel-good movie.
It is with what they were trying to
Oh
do.
my
There was
God.
like a deeper plot line in
and
here.
very subplot.
What did you give Saved again?
Saved? Oh shoot. Let me go
I want to
back.
see the comparison of what Saved was versus because
I gave Saved a 7.
okay, so that's a little bit on
Yeah.
that's a little bit on the track because like I'll let you, yeah
Yeah.
okay.
Like, yeah.
Go ahead, talk.
Well, I was gonna say they cinch things up so well that even like off screen assumptions had to be made to have it be cinched up. Like that's the thing I was looking at, like having Vanessa Hudgens character come on in and she's all dressed up for the final musical number, and I'm like, okay, so obviously people were talking to people and they had to tell her like, hey, he turned it all around. He's doing exactly, he whipped this bitch into shape. Zach's doing exactly what you wanted.
You know, if Kelsey was able to turn around and tell the whole working crew, why wouldn't she go tell Gabriella as well? I feel like that would make sense. She's rooting for them. She wrote a song for them. A beautiful song.
Okay.
Listen. I think it was written really great for a Disney Channel, for what it is, for a Disney Channel teen summer movie. I think the plot line was exceptionally good.
See, I gave it a 5. I gave it a 5
Wow.
because I felt like some of the drama was forced between Zac Efron's character Troy and Vanessa Hudgens' character girl.
I think it's a very
Character.
typical,
What's her
like,
name?
I mean, I could kind of
Gabriella?
see
Gabriella,
that
yeah.
where, they're trying to insert Taylor to do some like,
Stuff and things.
meddling. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
If it wasn't for you crazy kids.
But at the same time, like I felt like that's where it needed to go. Because
Yeah.
otherwise it wouldn't have went anywhere.
Right. Well, there was
Exactly.
obviously, there's definitely the conflict again of Troy and his future and putting that over his friendships and his relationships. And I think that's where the issues with Gabriella came in, was that he was putting all of this new stuff that Sharpay did have, orchestrate, but Troy did make a couple of choices.
And we also have to think about that they're in high school.
Yeah.
So they're all about friendship and fun.
Yeah. And that's
Friendship.
that's typical teenage drama,
Sorry, I was doing
Were
a
you
callback
singing?
to Miami Connection.
Oh.
Friendship, honesty, dun, 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 dun,
I'm lost.
thick and thin. It's an inside joke between us
well,
and everybody
cute.
who watches Riff Tracks.
Against
Everyone
the
else on the
ninja.
podcast is going to be like me. Huh?
Well, unless they watch Riff Tracks, in which case then they're like,
Well,
oh
they
man, they watch.
And if you haven't checked it out, Miami Connection.
yeah,
You can even have
Filmed
the
in
soundtrack
Orlando.
on title.
We're just
or on vinyl, it's filled with white powder because it's supposed to be like cocaine. Anyway, so yeah, so
Back
our
to
debate.
High School Musical.
So the whole plot
Reel it
revolves
in.
around them working at this golf resort, and Troy is getting all these amazing opportunities because the daughter of the owner, which is played by Ashley Tisdale,
Sharpay.
they really should have inserted more like people in the background going Sharpay as soon as she walked in.
That was just me the whole movie. Sharpay.
I know, it should have been like actually in the movie. That would have been a good play there. She just walks in, sashay, Sharpay. I mean, it is a product of its time. It is a early 2000s film for sure. Everybody looks like they jumped out of a JCPenney.
Oh my God, yes. The outfits were to like die for. They had it. I'm pretty sure JCPenney had their own High School Musical line. There was definitely High School Musical.
It's like Arizona jeans or something or whatever. That one's okay. So who's the girl on the piano? Kelsey. Okay. She was the only one that looked like she didn't know what she was dressing up for.
She likes fancy hats.
Well, it's not just the hats. It's like, okay, I'm going to wear a vest today. What are we doing? Okay, I'm going to work in the restaurant. Why are you wearing that? This is a kitchen.
She wasn't working in the kitchen. She was the pianist.
Oh, but she was in the kitchen a lot for being a pianist.
Yeah, she's hanging out with her
friends.
friends.
That is weird. She was a pianist and always in the kitchen.
She was hanging out with her friends.
Okay,
she is a woman.
We have a new platform.
That's where all her friends were.
That's where the women belong.
Oh.
That is a joke.
I didn't say it, guys.
So sorry.
We're sponsored by
It's
Fox
my
News in
eternal
no time.
misogyny. I'm sorry.
Self-hatred.
Anyhow.
If you knew how she cooked, you know that's not true. She's not saying that at all.
Listen, I'm also giving it a 9 for screenplay. I breeze past that. I'm giving it a 9 for screenplay because I think the composer, David Lawrence, I think he does a really good job of telling story through the songs and is able to get points across through the songs. Like,
so
I got to go my own way. The communication between the two.
So there's something important to note. Musicals are distinctly an American thing. Because they thought that people wouldn't be interested in sitting through an entire 2-hour film. In this case, 2-hour film. Yes, 2 hours of this movie.
Not enough time.
Yeah, not enough, in my opinion. That's why they made 3 of them.
Yeah. So, 2-hour film, and they didn't think people would sit through it, so they added music. And yeah. Now, I will say I didn't think it was as bad as I thought it was going to be. It did have a lot of the cliches. It did have a lot of the things that Disney's known for. It's fine. Zac Efron acted the hell out of his emotions. I was really impressed with him, actually. I know I'm skipping to acting a little bit, but
that's fine.
With the script that he had.
Go ahead and talk about the acting.
Yeah, well, we're not there yet, but just like, because it's going to fuse in. Only reason why I say that is because I don't want to mess up our format that we came up with, that we like so much. Yeah. It was your idea.
Stuff is meant for breaking the rules, right?
Just like a woman, undecided. So
true.
Just kidding. All right. So, but the screenplay, the thing I didn't understand was there was no build up to the action that Gabrielle took when she broke up with Zach. I can understand leaving the resort, being like, "Hey, this is too much trouble. I'm just done. Well, we'll stay connected, all that stuff." It's like, no, I'm going to break up with you because you're a new man. You got a $2,000 a month job in 2007 as an 18-year-old. You're getting hooked in with a college.
Ignoring
you
her
look like you're getting
her friends.
Extremely successful.
Ignoring her phone calls.
Yeah, and what does that turn you into as an adult? Somebody who's overly obsessed with their success and their job over their relationships?
Well,
I don't blame her for being wary of that.
Zach, the whole entire time, in his character, I should say, I'm like, Zach, my buddy, man, he was trying his best. No, so Troy in the movie, though, was trying to communicate all his feelings. You could tell he was in stress. He was distressed, and he's trying to make the right decisions. He's trying to convey that. It wasn't coming from a bad place. She just didn't even try to communicate with him when she had the chance, which is what really bothered me.
And there was one time when he was acting kind of, what's that word, naive, when he got offered the job of the golf, being the golf pro and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, yeah, why did I get this? And the guy's like, because Sharp Hay. Hello.
Oh yeah, but again, he's 18. He's a goof.
I would argue that. I think it should have come from Troy. Like, he was in a tough spot for sure, but he also wasn't making the effort to communicate. And there were also moments where he could have joined his friends and kind of caught up with them and explained what was going on, but instead he was doing other things. And so I think that's
ignoring the phone call.
So I think the only thing that's maybe started switching sides, though, was your point about, like, oh, he's doing this because he needs a scholarship, blah, 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 but yet they live in $1 million house.
Yeah, they're so fucking rich.
They have a
they never
panel.
really explained why.
Yeah, like they have a panel, those wooden panels over a fridge that are really expensive because they had the whole 9 yards. And I forget what they said. They're like, oh, we're saving pennies or whatever. I'm like, for what?
For what?
They
left the fridge open.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For so long.
I was like, exactly. Like, come on. Who does that?
Like, I was stressing about money just watching it. I was like, that fridge is still open.
The food is going to come back.
Oh, my God. The electricity bill. So
I ended up rating the whole screenplay. And the one thing I wanted to highlight, too, is some of the subversive things that we were all detecting going on. But especially with the brother. And,
Ryan.
Yeah.
With baseball.
The baseball. Oh, yeah. That was definitely an allegory to being gay. Like, he's absolutely gay. Actually, so I looked it up, and Kenny Ortega, the director, wanted him to be gay. That is why he dresses the way he does and acts the way that he does. But he didn't think that they could have an openly gay character on Disney Channel at the time. So they, in the next film, he has a romantic relationship with a female. But actually, in the High School Musical, the show, or whatever that's on Disney Plus, he is now openly gay, canonically.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was like, come on now. Like,
well, like, even if you watch the interaction between the brother and the father, he definitely did not wear the bright colors around his dad either. If you saw that, like
he kind of dimmed it down. I didn't realize that either.
Yeah.
But now looking back, yeah, he kind of wore the kind of toned it back.
Good catch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I want that shirt though at the end. That's a good shirt.
Oh, with the collar.
Well, like the floral with the it looked like it had a French cuff, which is like, first of all, it's hard to find French cuffs.
Yeah, they're rich.
Yeah.
Fucking rich white people.
Oh, yeah. That's actually the nickname I gave the movie. It's White People the Musical.
Pretty much.
That's what I wrote down. I was like, this is like the worst your problem is working at a resort and not liking it as much as you thought you would.
Yeah.
Like, a world-class result, and you're not as rich as the other rich people. You're just only so rich. Like, it's not even upper middle class, guys. He's it's so bad. They're like, I need a scholarship. I'm like, how expensive is this school? Like, is this like evil genius university or like, what are we talking here? But yeah, I gave it a 5 out of 10 because it just, I don't know. I just felt like there could have been some more character development. There was a part that I talked about towards the end where Ashley Tisdale's Sharpay breaks down and is actually honest with Zach's character Troy and is trying to convey what she actually feels and how she really is, and actually brings down that defensive facade. I'm like, ooh, great! Now we can build on this. Now Troy just leaves. She says everything and just leaves.
He doesn't owe her anything.
That's where I see when you guys were like, oh man, Troy's being such a jerk right there, and I'm like, that's being a jerk. You just totally didn't recognize her feelings at all. You just walked away. That's mean. Like, she finally opens up to somebody, and then you're just like, oh, that's what you get. You should have been defensive the entire time.
To be fair, in the first movie, she does almost the exact same shit. Like, is a bitch the whole movie, and then kind of is at the end, is like, oh, wow, I'm super sorry, opens up. And then she goes back to, in the second movie, doing the same shit.
Well, that's just bad
I really
writing,
don't blame him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like the opening scene was, I'm guessing like supposed to be right after the High School Musical ended, and then she was already acting the bitch to Gabriella.
Yeah, she's just a bitch the whole time.
I just want ladies to understand that like Zac Efron, his character Troy, is like obviously loves Gabriella because he had the money, he had the inn, he had the girl, he had the future. He had the college all laid up in front of him. He's like, no. And there's so many guys who are like, well, I met you in high school. So.
See, Troy Bolton is the ultimate green flag. That is
green.
Green. No, not as green as the other guy from Saved.
You think so?
Oh my gosh, I forgot about him.
You think it's that green?
He's too green.
No, like the other guy was greener.
Troy, I like about Troy is that he is a very typical, I would say atypical high school teenage boy, but in the facts that he makes mistakes and as a teenager would, but he owns up to that shit and he turns that shit around and is ultimately chooses to be a good person. And I really like that about Disney, like this Disney franchise in particular. Troy is never purposefully an asshole to anyone.
Yeah.
He makes mistakes and he, you know, figures them out. And I like that.
You know what? It's the blue eyes, guys. Just for contacts.
My Zac Efron pillowcase. I wonder where
Brought to you by Troy pillowcases.
All right. Well, we should honestly get into
the one thing that I can say is that the direction of the movie, like if we're talking about like the choreography and all that other stuff, like the director, it was amazing.
I didn't think about that either.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I have the choreographer listed, but no, sorry.
But like every little teeny tiny detail in all of those dance numbers are expertly carried out. Now, how many times did they do that? Probably a lot. But they made sure that, again, like everything was probably storyboarded. Every little detail. Like if you think about the time with the basketballs even, it's like they're passing it like same exact time, same exact speed. Like nobody is even a second off of anything. The whole, like all the dance numbers and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. I guess moving into, so what would you score direction?
I would give it a 9.
A 9. I gave it an 8. Yeah.
I gave it a 7. I feel like the actors were sometimes self-directed than the director themselves. Plus, at the same time, there should have been some like, man, this is a little too cheesy. Where it just got real cheeseball. Like, just, yeah.
That's fair. I think I would give it, you know, an 8 out of 10 because, you know, along the lines of what Sam was saying, Charles Klapow does a really great job with the choreography of the entire film. Like, I didn't think about that. I had actually ranked it 7, and then when she was talking, I bumped it up to 8 because I was like, you know what, he was nominated for an Emmy for the choreography of this film.
As he should have been.
Yeah, those actors were busting their asses for that. And no, he did a great job. I think, you know, there are certain shots that look weird, like Troy looking at himself in the lake, or
the lighting too was off.
Oh yeah, especially for Ben. Well, because they filmed it over 6 days for that one song, so the lighting, especially for that.
The whole film, most of it was like you'd see a lot of shadows that would hit off the faces. It is natural, and when you're actually in that situation, most time movies were like, no, don't do that because it looks distracting. It cheapens the look of the film because people are already used to it. So when I was looking at certain shots, I was like, man, that's where I was knocking down points because I don't know. I mean, the director should be responsible enough to look at the monitor and be like, hey, man, can we get a key light or something like that to get rid of that?
Right. I mean, I'll give them extra points. Like for I Don't Dance, I think I was telling you guys earlier, they had to speed run the choreography for that song because the sun was setting and they were running out of time. They had to bring in a spotlight. And honestly, I was watching it. I couldn't figure out when that moment was, although there were, again, areas where you could tell that it was just different times of the day. Same with Bet on It. Like there were just some scenes. There were continuity errors throughout. So,
like I Don't Dance, and he previously was absolutely dancing, which lends itself to the allegory of I'm gay.
Can we talk about Ryan's hat though? Always being askew. It's never straight.
Straight. Oh, that's right. Oh, hence the straightening of the hat. Now I see the connection.
Yes, Dad's always straightening the hat, and Ryan doesn't wear his hat straight. It ain't straight,
which is fine.
Which we love,
especially that floral shirt. I want that shirt.
Give me
the
Back
shirt.
To the shirt.
So
message Lucas Gabriel for the shirt.
He just gives me his shirt. I'm like, I'm too fat for that. I need, and plus my arms are long. He's probably like half the size of me. I don't know. So acting, I think I gave it an 8 out of 10. I thought the acting was really good.
I gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I gave it 10 out of 10.
Because they acted the shit out of it. And especially, you kind of clued me into one of the parts where Sharpay was, like, during her first solo number at the poolside, where she was, like, always pointing her, always acting, like, pointing her toes and never... Sorry.
We're playing footsies. It's fine.
Don't kick people.
Yeah.
This.
I think all of the actors did such an amazing job. I mean, especially shout out to Zac Efron. Like, I don't know how he plays confused as well as he does, but he's so
maybe he's actually confused.
Maybe he was just like not told the direction.
And maybe like, they threw something at him just to get the normal reaction of his confusion.
Gabrielle just starts yelling at him, and he's like, what page is this?
They just drag him into the Huma Huma Nuka Nuka Apua scene and are like, just sit here. Just watch this and give us your honest reaction.
I liked his reaction during the Hawaiian thing.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's
I'm almost positive that was not written in
not
the script.
Scripted. Yeah.
For him at least.
For this.
Because if that was, then he did an amazing job. But I'm almost positive.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the boss?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, Lord.
What do you want to say about him?
I'm just saying, like, everything says he's stressed except for the first part where he sprays Bianca in his mouth after meeting Ashley Tisdale. Like, I'm going to shoot my shot.
See, I took it as he is just overly criticized in his position, which is why he's so stressed out. So he's always having to be, in that position of perfection as Sharpay would request it. That's kind of my take on the whole thing for the rest of the film. Stress
equals cooling yourself off when you see the girl?
When do you not get hot when you're stressed?
No.
You don't,
no.
Your skin doesn't get red?
No.
Oh.
No. Like,
I do. I overheat a little bit.
All the stuff. See, the thing is like with the Disney cliche stuff, it just makes me think of the callbacks of guy sees girl, guys like, ooh, that's so hot. I got to cool myself off because I got to act right. So, like, they pour ice down their pants or something like that, or take a cold shower, whatever that is. And that's why I immediately made the connection of, oh, they're doing that little cliche of, oh, man, she's so hot. I got to cool myself down, because that's what he did. And then that coalesced with I got to freshen my breath until the third time. The third time, I feel like he was stressed. So I was like, well, wait a minute. This is disjointed now. So what direction were you trying to do? Again, that's why another point was off. Because it was, first of all, it would have been creepy if that was the real direction. In which case, good job. You did a great job being creepy.
You've been watching too much Quiet on the Set.
That's what it kind of was going towards. I was like, well, it was around that time.
See, but like, I also was thinking about like organically too, like, oh, she's a bitch. He's her employee or whatever.
As an
because
older
if you
man
really
too.
think about it,
well,
it's humiliating. Basically,
I
mean, he's employed. No, he's employed by.
Oh,
her
the other way
family.
around. Oh, I got you.
Right.
Now. I see.
Yeah, and so like doesn't want to hear her shit, because who does? But then when he did that last scene with the golf cart where he's like, I got bills, I got this and that, and I can't lose my job. And it's just kind of like, I felt like it just came together why he was always so stressed around them, because one little thing could get him fired, because they're that type of people.
I kind of got that vibe too.
Well, if you're listening to this episode, tell us what you think at keepstreamskip@gmail.com.
Yeah, give us your opinion.
I'm curious.
Yeah, most
I'm
likely
curious what you guys think.
will side with him.
Yeah. Team Zach or Team Gabriella, who just walks off in her Chrysler Pacifica.
Oh my God.
Well, okay. We're
We're gonna.
Remember, guys, Great Recession was knocking on the door. He's in $1 million home. Who knows? Maybe they got the predatory loan. Who knows?
Wow.
Wow. We're going deep diving.
Anywho, acting 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
I think the singing was amazing too. Like, they cast a lot of really great singers. And I do want to point out that Zac Efron this was his first movie that he sang in. So High School Musical 1, all of his musical lines were dubbed by an actor named Drew Seeley. Because I believe the reason was he was still going through puberty. And so his voice wasn't. Don't quote me on that. That might be incorrect. But he just wasn't a great singer at the time. I don't know. But he did not sing anything in the first movie, and he actually was quoted to fight very hard to be able to sing the lines in this one. So,
man, a guy fighting hard to be a singer. All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Coincides with his character.
Yeah.
So we're proud of him for that. He did a really great job.
Maybe he should have sang with Sharpay last time. No.
Yeah.
That Hawaiian number. God.
Oh my God.
All right, special effects. I gave a 4 out of 10. You know why.
I also gave a 4. Yeah.
All right, it's unanimous. Okay,
wow.
So movie maker type fireworks at the end where they had to tell the actors, pretend. Just pretend there's fireworks, please.
The stars in the sky.
Shooting star.
Yeah.
Shooting star.
Or like the star, like
him in the lake.
Yeah.
Like the stars, like that are just pasted on there, wasn't really a big deal. But then, like when they try to do a stupid shooting star digitally, it was like
Disney has enough money; they could have sent an asteroid in space and sent it across New Mexico.
I will say, the next movie they bump up the special effects.
Oh, so on that, how much money did this movie make? It didn't even go into theaters. It didn't even go worldwide. No, it was just straight, video.
Yeah, it was on Disney Channel, and actually it debuted with 17.2 million views, which was the highest rated basic cable telecast of its time, and it is still currently the highest rated Disney Channel movie ever to this day. Its budget was $7 million, but it made $93 million in DVD sales.
Well, just think DVDs, merchandise.
Oh, I had all the merch.
If I was making that money,
I had the Tribal pillowcase,
a couple thousand yourself, or your parents did, because at the time.
Oh, absolutely! I had the whole bedspread. I had a music sheet for High School Musical 2, like the piano music sheet. I didn't play piano, mind you. I just had the music sheet.
Now we know what to get for her birthday.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
The elusive.
What if it was D&D High School Musical?
What?
Roll for music initiative.
My brain just broke. Wow.
So overall,
everyone breaks out into musical every 5 minutes.
Overall, I gave it.
I'm sorry I suggested it.
I know you are.
Roll to cancel.
You just crit failed on your persuasion, buddy.
So, all right. So, what's your overall?
Overall, I gave it an 8 out of 10.
I also gave it an 8 out of 10.
I gave it a 6 out of 10.
Nice.
All right. So
the Miley Cyrus cameo at the pool at the end didn't sway you?
No, not at all. That was probably even lost at a point. No, there's nothing wrong with it. She's fine.
It was very, very at the end, because like I remember you saying, "Oh, we have to watch for the yellow shirt," and it's like literally just a split second.
Yep.
At the end.
Yep.
Boom,
if you blinked, you missed it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I gave it 8 out of 10. It's such a fun summer vibe. The music is timeless. Like, play it still after.
I would definitely want to watch this again next summer.
Yes. Which is actually why I would keep it and watch it every summer. Summer classic for me.
It was your pick. I would hope so.
Oh, yeah. My pick. Yeah.
I would just
actually
stream
picked it and I would
because it's on Disney.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, there's no reason for me to own a hard copy.
Believe it or not, I did say stream it. I didn't say skip it.
Yay!
So it wasn't as cringe as I thought it was going to be. I'm not a musical person necessarily, but yeah, the only thing is I would like to talk about the toxic relationship.
Oh my God.
But no, that's pretty much it. Go ahead and check it out on Disney Plus. It's called White People Do Musical 2. And look at a bunch of rich people having fun at a resort. Their kids having fun there, so there you go.
We love it.
But when we come back, we're going to be talking about my pick, Weekend at Bernie's. So stay tuned, and we'll give you a little bit of a treat there. Hey, we're back. As she goes, Summer. Yeah. Okay. So we're back for Weekend at Bernie's. Samantha.
So Weekend at Bernie's came out in 1989. It is a comedy. I would say so. Writers Robert Klein, director Ted Kotcheff, or
we said it two different ways, and none of them are those ways. And you went jack off with the last name.
I'm sorry.
Kotcheff. Yeah, how did you come up with the
Because
third?
we were messing around earlier before you came in, and I think that's what stuck in my head.
No.
Oh,
Okay, anyway. The actors were Andrew McCartney, Jonathan Silverman, Terry Kaiser. Apparently, Ski Ulrich was an extra, but I wasn't able to find him.
Yeah, I couldn't find him either.
I don't know who that is.
Scream.
Oh, that's right. We did look him up.
And where you can find the film, well, you can't find it streaming. You have to buy it on Blu-ray, or you can always buy it on Amazon. But we highly advise you to buy the physical copy.
So I guess you're a keep already. Just throwing that out there.
Well, we own it.
I know. All right. So the
I thought you were going to go into your tirade about physical copy stuff. So sorry.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. I was going to say, like, anything that you hear us talk about, definitely if you're going to keep it, get it on physical, no matter what you decide. Obviously, we're just opinions. You might have your own. But so yeah, Weekend at Bernie's is one of my like favorite films, and this is back in the day where that was like a kid's film for us in our family.
Jesus.
So Weekend at Bernie's is this. If you haven't seen it before, it starts out with these two guys who work in an office in New York during a strong heat wave right before Labor Day weekend. And Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman play the titular characters of Larry Wilson and Richard Parker. And they are basically just trying to work the weekend, and they're trying to. Larry's the carefree guy, and Jonathan's the stiff, or I should say, Richard's the stiff. So in the end, they find out that there is this insurance fraud scheme going on with life insurance policy. They bring it to their boss, Bernie Lomax, played by Terry Kaiser. And you might remember Terry Kaiser from such films as Tammy and the T-Rex. Did you think I was going to bring that up, or no? Okay, so he plays a mad scientist. That will have to be for another time, but it's awesome.
I'm so lost.
If you've seen Joe Bob Briggs' Last Drive-In, they did Tammy and the T-Rex at one point. And Tammy and T-Rex has actually showed up a couple of times, but it was Paul Walker was in that film. I think it was his first major film, and then a model, I can't remember her name. She was Christmas Jones in the one James Bond film, Tomorrow Never. No, The World Is Not Enough. But anyways, good stuff. Anyways, so here's the deal. So they figure this out. They go ahead and bring it over to Bernie Lomax. They're like, hey, we're going to we found this really major big error. Someone's trying to take money from the company. And Bernie at first is all like, no, you looked at it wrong. And they push harder. And they're like, no, we didn't look at this. It's totally life insurance fraud. They pulled out the policies and cashed them out after the fact. Well, they're thinking they're riding on cloud nine, but in actuality, more things are amiss. And if you haven't figured out, we do spoilers here. We forgot to mention that earlier in the last film, but I don't know how you can spoil a musical. But anyways, there's spoilers here from here on out. So essentially what ends up happening is that Bernie has to find out a way to get rid of these two because he's the one that's doing the fraud. So he goes to his mobster friends and says, hey, I got to get these two and get them killed. And however, the mobster guy knows that his girl is having an affair with Bernie. So he decides to say, I'm going to off Bernie. And therefore, that end it. Just don't even worry about the two other guys. Well, Bernie has already invited the two guys, Larry and Richard, over to his Hamptons house, which, by the way, was a house they had to build from scratch because they actually filmed it in North Carolina on Bald Head Island. And the lighthouse was called Old Baldy that they went up
Baldy.
in. Yeah.
Kind of makes sense for the thing with Bernie.
Oh, yeah, because he wears they find out they wear a toupee. Yeah. So in the end, shenanigans happen. Bernie is killed first, and the two basically act like he's alive because they feel like, well, we earned this weekend, we're going to do it. But then they start to act like he's alive because they realize about the plot to kill them. They think that's still going on, not realizing that the mob called off the hit just because they wanted to go after Bernie. and a lot of shenanigans ensue. And interestingly enough, even though it's called Weekend at Bernie's, it really actually wasn't a full weekend. It was just like a day. It was the night they came over, the evening they came over, and then the day up to 6 p.m. Yeah, it wasn't a full weekend. Originally, it was going to be called Hot and Cold, but they decided to not do that. So they were like, okay, we're going to call it Heat Wave. But then Heat Wave didn't work out because Motown wouldn't give them the rights to the song. So they went with Weekend at Bernie's. In the end, they ended up surviving the hitman and everything else. Lots of laughter. And of course, there's a love interest for Richard Parker, who is Gwen. I didn't write down her name. Oh, gosh.
Catherine Mary Stewart.
Thank you. Catherine Mary Stewart has played her. She's a 30-year-old who plays a college intern.
It's never too late, folks.
In the 80s.
In the 80s, yeah. So. Well, it's heavily implied she's like 22.
Yeah.
She doesn't look 22. But then again, most 22-year-olds back then, did they look like they were 30?
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. Everybody's like getting the perm hairs. So that's pretty much the summary of it all. Very quick, short and sweet. The unfortunate thing is that they had to build a house because the fact that they couldn't find a good enough house to use for a rich person in North Carolina.
I said, damn.
And so what they did is they were like, okay, we built the house. And their exact words were like, yeah, we can't, all these houses are shitty, is what they said. And then that's also on top of the fact that they couldn't even find somebody to let them film in a house. The other part is at the end of it, they had to end up demolishing it. So there's no way to, the whole thing was built and then demolished.
So how much money did it make?
It made,
or even just the budget to make it? Because building a house,
just that
for the
house,
sake of building a house.
Believe it or not, 15 million, and it made 30 million. So it was almost roughly back and forth. So it made its money to make a Weekend at Bernie's 2, which is another one that's even more ridiculous because, of course, how long can a dead body last? But it's supposed to be a direct.
I wondered that the entire time. I was like, when is that rigor mortis going to set in?
Well, that's where the special effects comes in. We'll talk about that later. They made it to where the dead body didn't smell. I'm kidding.
What? It's like, wait, hold on.
Hollywood
Confusion.
magic.
Wow.
Hollywood magic.
Lots of perfumes. No, so, okay. Screenplay. I'm interested to see what you guys thought.
I give it an 8 out of 10 because just the originality of it all.
Oh, okay. So I'm glad you brought that up. It was inspired by an Indian film.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
And now
so it's not original.
It actually, well, that concept specifically.
So knock it down.
It is original in the sense that it was only inspired. If you see the trailer for the Indian film, it is called something. I had it written down somewhere. Anyways, it was inspired by a low budget. Oh, here. Nope. I skipped it because I didn't want to misspell it. That's what it was. Or no, not
mispronounce it.
Mispronounce it. Thank you. Okay. That thing. Yep. Mm-hmm. So
nice.
Well, I just thought that also the concept was like very, very interesting because like you have these two guys who think, they're getting a big promotion. They're like cloud 9, but yet they're going pretty much lamb to slaughter. But then they find out there weren't lambs to slaughter because they slaughtered the boss instead. And then they didn't want to leave the island after, getting all the fame because, the guy's rich. And these guys are like fresh out of college, it seemed. Like one of them was living in a cockroach-ridden
apartment.
Larry.
Oh,
the other one was living with the dad, with the parents. So, of course, it's not like they had money themselves. So they were like, oh, Hamptons? Ooh, this nice house. Ooh, this party. And then Richard's just a self-absorbed
Larry.
Fucking
Larry. I swear to God.
Yeah. I thought
I
Larry
had beef with Larry.
Larry was endearing to me, but
what?
Like,
endearing.
Andrew McCarthy originally was told to read for Jonathan Silverman's part with Richard Parker, but he ended up liking Larry so much he's like, no, I want that one. And so you might know Andrew McCarthy and a bunch of other stuff. He's been in, it'd be nice if I would have wrote that down. He's been in other things, but he's got a bunch of acting credits. He's got 124 directing, and let's see how many. No, I'm sorry, 83 acting, 28 directing. Oh. So he's been around.
He's in Pretty in Pink.
Yeah.
Oh, and St. Elmo's Fire. Oh, he was in a lot of the 80s classics.
Brat Pack.
I was thinking of like the more modern stuff because he's been in. Was it Black? Oh gosh. It's with James Spader. It's like Black Book, I think. Series.
No.
Okay. Well,
yeah, I'm lost.
That's okay. No biggie. So, funny enough, you mentioned the parent and everything else. That one scene with the dad, that was the director.
Oh my God, the dad?
Yeah, that was the director.
That was so
the
funny.
one who was like, I'm going to lay you,
lay
you out.
Andrew McCarthy actually directed that scene. And Ted Kotcheff played the dad in just his underwear.
Are you talking about The Blacklist?
Blacklist, thank you.
Yeah.
Not
right.
Black Book, Blacklist. There's probably a bunch of people like that watch a lot more TV than I and going, what?
Well, there is a movie called Little Black Book, but
yeah.
that's with Brittany Murphy.
Definitely not that. Okay, so what'd you think of the screenplay?
I gave it a 7 out of 10 because honestly, I was so lost as to why they were pretending he was alive. Like until they found out about the scheme, right? I understand at that point them not wanting to die and so needing to be seen with him. But before that, I was like, guys, just call the cops, man. You guys are going to be implicated. Like, at least Richard seemed like the smart one. And so to be blowing it off for a girl the entire time, I was like, well, never mind.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. He wanted a girl and Larry wanted just party. And he's like, I've deserved this.
Larry is a sociopath for sure.
But a fun one.
Yeah, well, when you lack morals.
Fun? They kind of go hand in hand, I guess.
So, yeah, wow.
Not that I know any sociopaths.
Yeah. I gave it a 7 out of 10. The ridiculousness, of course, is like a body not going through rigor and everything else. But this is like the fun part of the 1980s film work is that there's a good suspension of disbelief. Yeah. And somehow they make it happen, even though you could be a corner and still watch this movie and be like, this is just funny.
Yeah, because even at one time, Bernie's girlfriend comes in and she goes upstairs and the thought is that she just went and had sex with a dead corpse.
Oh my God, necrophilia. Yeah. I was a little astounded by that. And especially when you started this by saying y'all watch this as kids. I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we did.
I actually did. Like, my mom loved this movie.
That's why.
Yeah, it was considered slapsticky and it was considered kids. Ghostbusters was considered a kids film back in the day.
But then again, when I was a kid, I didn't realize what was going on in that bedroom.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Because it didn't it wasn't like today where they show like every little detail most of the time. But here,
the implication.
That would be so awkward if they did. The comedy would just stop right then and there. Just seeing a silent Bernie and then her moaning on top of like a corpse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have switched to a horror real quick.
Well, I was a little horrified to begin with. So
just the thought of it. And here's the thing too, because when they went back up, the presumption is she put his pants back on because they didn't have to fix them back up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe
or
she
continuity,
just took it out.
Just unzipped and zipped.
Maybe.
Yeah. That rigor set in just right.
Although he was all wet from the water. Because they just pulled him out of the water.
Yeah, that's the other thing. The fact that his body was not mangled and or in any way damaged from hitting how many buoys out there. He
was overdosed. He was hit with the buoys. He was thrown in the ocean. He went over the side of the balcony. He was buried. He was shot eventually. He was also strangled.
Yeah, right? There are no signs of any of it.
Which, by the way, again, Terry Kaiser is acting as Bernie the entire time, with the exception of a stuntman and for some of the scenes and a dummy for one scene.
And there were very, very few.
Very few, yeah. The funny thing is the stuntman ended up with a bunch of broken bones for this from this movie.
From falling over fucking balconies and stuff all the time.
Well, wasn't it one? It was like the water one.
Yeah.
Where he was being pulled and dragged through the water.
Because he has to act like a dead body.
I'm sorry. That wasn't
a dummy.
That was a stunt.
He was being pulled through the water.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Give that man a raise.
That's what I say. So direction.
I was watching and I was like, that has to be a dummy. His body's moving at awkward angles here, man.
Oh, it's flipping all over the place. It's like, yeah, that's.
I can't believe they got away with that. Doing that to a person.
Hazard pay? I don't know. So direction's a 9 out of 10. And so this is, I gotta mention this real quick. So Ted Kotcheff is a kind of an eclectic director. He doesn't stick to one genre. He's mostly known for Rambo: First Blood.
Oh,
that's why they made the Rambo comment
reference.
Oh, Rambo, when he called him Rambo.
Yeah, that was a little nod to him. And he also did a couple episodes of Red Shoe Diaries too. So he's done everything from like Showtime, or is it HBO? Which one was Red Shoe Diaries on? Showtime or HBO? Or
I have no idea what that is.
It's softcore porn back in the day. They would show on like HBO or Cinemax late in the night.
Lord.
Oh, those were the fun times. You waited for the parents to go to bed. You got up. You started flipping through.
When my parents went to bed, I got up and watched Cartoon Network.
Or like you accidentally stumbled upon it because you didn't know any better. And then you're like, oh,
accidentally.
Yes. And then you're like, why is she taking off all her clothes? And then you're like, oh crap, this is not what I thought it was.
You guys had very different childhoods.
Go on.
That was when they would do those free weekends for like Cinemax and stuff. Try to get people to like subscribe.
God bless America. So yeah, I just think it was well directed. Everything, all the jokes landed pretty good. Apparently, if it didn't land, he would get kind of abrasive, according to Andrew McCarthy, because he was really trying to get the jokes to hit really hard. He wanted this thing to work, and so he definitely put the passion behind it. So
I did 8 out of 10 because I feel like it was really well directed. You know, like everybody knew kind of what to do and where to do it, and even Bernie, who is like, you know, a lump of coal or like a potato sack at this point, right? He knew how to move and stuff like that.
How does a lump of coal move?
A lump of coal doesn't move, but you know what I mean? Like in the scenes where like his head's tilted just so slightly.
Yeah.
He has his eyes open, but they kept on putting sunglasses on him. I'm pretty sure that's because, you know, it's going to be hard not to blink.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And I did notice one time when he was sitting on the couch, like his eyes were open like for the whole entire time. And I'm like looking at it, I'm like, where's the blink? Where's the blink? And no, like he acted the shit out of it.
Yeah, he did.
All right.
Yeah. No, I also gave it an 8 because I personally, I thought it was, very unique, very good. I did think some of the jokes were a little forced, but I think that was the point of them. I think this time, the slapstick comedy of it.
Oh, it was so Laurel and Hardy. It was great. It's just like, Richard, like that whole, like the way they would do the line delivery was awesome, which is a good segue for the acting. So what did you guys think of the acting?
I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Same.
Because of Terry Kaiser.
Yep. Same.
Terry Kaiser. Yeah, that's what made me gave it a 10. I thought the chemistry between Andrew McCarthy and Richard Parker were great. Or between Jonathan Silverman and Andrew McCarthy were great.
I thought they had a great dynamic too.
Yeah. I'm surprised.
They did pretty good together.
It was almost like David Spade and Chris Farley. I really was surprised I didn't see more of that except for just Weekend at Bernie's 1 and 2. So I was a little sad to see like, oh, there wasn't more of these guys together.
And the only reason why I dinged it down a point is because of when they went to the restaurant and saw the mob boss. That wasn't really believable.
The stud earring.
There were some actors outside of the main ones that I was like, okay.
The kid? No.
Yeah. But I will say the Mafia was not as bad as Blue Belt.
No.
Thank God.
I thought the entire time I was like, are they going to do the French national anthem?
Originally, they were thinking about using Corey Haim and Feldman to do the roles for this. This was supposed to be a jumping off for them. And they were like, no, let's not do that. And then they were, Jonathan Cryer auditioned for the roles. That was a no. My thing is that out of all three of these guys, Andrew McCarthy probably is arguably the most successful. Jonathan Silverman is like hit or miss or all that good stuff. Terry Kaiser,
I loved him in Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Jonathan Silverman?
Yeah.
He has his own film foundation. Weekend at Bernie's scores a 2 of his best films, which I was like, 2? What's number 1?
What is number 1?
What is number 1?
I don't know.
Okay, well, hold on.
While you look that up, I gave acting a 10 out of 10. Again, because Terry Kaiser, to do all that stuff that he had to do, and then those guys having to haul him around, it was definitely... Yeah,
I would love to see like a blooper reel for that.
Oh, yeah.
Just because like of all the shenanigans that I'm sure would have ensued.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
I mean, and Terry Kaiser literally had to be like a bag of potatoes. Like he couldn't move at all because they had to force him to move to make it believable that he is dead. Because even if like one little twitch of the leg or an arm or something, and
I don't know how he did it because Terry Kaiser, I know he's had interviews about Weekend at Bernie's even to this day, and the dragging his feet, keeping his arms limp, not breathing. Like I tried catching him off guard, like seeing if he would breathe on film, and no, nothing. It's insane. And the fact that all these jokes are happening, these like that one girl leaning in, like, I know you have it here for me, Bernie, trying to find drugs. She ends up finding the baggie that actually killed him and taking it and being like, thank you, Bernie. The guy asking about his Porsche, all sorts of stuff. And then like Larry grabbing his hair and then
not being able to like react to anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, and then him getting vacuumed. He didn't react to that when they vacuumed his face.
His literal face.
Yeah.
My question is, does he really have a toupee?
I don't think so. He looks like he's always had a head of hair. It's always been that way. Because if you look at his past film projects and his current film projects, he's always had a head of hair. Tammy and the T-Rex, I think he was grayer, much grayer. But
probably.
Which is a weird film. If you haven't seen it, yeah, it'll eventually show up on our movie review, I guarantee you.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it's weird. It's funny,
I love weird.
Yeah. We can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah. Special effects.
Special effects.
I don't think it's applicable.
I mean I couldn't tell the difference between his real body and a fake one, so I gave it a 9 out of 10 because I literally
I
could not tell.
Special effects too, where they had to like replace them at certain points, and I gave it 10 out of 10 because again, it's very seamless. Like you can't really tell, and even when.
Unlike with the jumping into the water scene where it's obviously not.
Oh, obviously not Vanessa Hudgens.
Yeah.
It's like it might as well be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar jumping into the pool.
Yeah, no. I think I only rated it 1 point lower because of the gunshots. I think that was the only thing that I was like, oh.
Yeah, those old gunshots. It even had a little bit of like a weird like whistling, lasering like shot, like it was, I don't know, it was weird.
Yeah, like the sound effect was off for it, and then just
Okay, yeah. Well, then I guess if I was going to rate it, I would give it a 7 out of 10. Nearly perfect. I mean, overall, do you have any more on special effects or?
No, but I do have a fun fact.
Oh, what's your fun fact?
So in the episode of the one with the embryos on Friends, Rachel Green meant this is Rachel Green's favorite movie.
That's right.
I forgot what she pretends her favorite movie is because she doesn't say that it's Weekend at Bernie's. She says it's something else, and then the next question is,
what's her actual favorite movie?
Weekend at Bernie's.
And isn't that the point where they got the guys the apartment?
The boys got the girls' apartment. Yeah,
wasn't that the final deciding vote for that?
No.
Oh, it wasn't.
No, it was Chandler's job.
Oh, okay. Which is who knows?
Statistical analysis and data configuration.
Okay, well.
I did a trivia, a friend's trivia on a cruise. I looked that one up because I knew it'd be there.
Oh wow. Okay, well I'll know who to partner with if I have to.
Only for certain trivias.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Friends is pretty much it, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean overall I gave it an 8 out of 10. I'm definitely, I mean it's nostalgic for me, so it's a keep. it's a keep all the way for me.
Yeah, I gave it a 9 out of 10, and it's definitely a keep. Again, nostalgia and just feel good summer comedy.
It is pinnacle 80s good stuff.
Definitely 80s. I gave it an 8 out of 10, and I said stream it because it was a good watch, but I would probably only watch it a couple times.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So good. It'll be good.
So
you guys are going to kick me out now, huh?
No, I was just thinking like it's starting to turn into the what was it, the PBS or whatever NPR special thing where it's like, yes, yeah.
Yes.
How would you keep it? I can understand the stream.
Yeah. Understood.
All right. Well, so that will take us to our next film. When we come back, we're going to be doing Friday the 13th, the perfect camping film before you send the little ones back to summer camp so they can spend that time. You just make sure they let them know that it's based on a real story. And, well,
watch them squirm.
Yeah. All right. We'll be right back. And we're back for Friday the 13th. So, Juliana, why don't you go ahead and take us in?
Alrighty. Friday the 13th, made in 1980, is a horror film written by Victor Miller and Ron Kurz, directed by Sean S. Cunningham, starring actors like Betsy Palmer, Adrienne King, and Kevin Bacon.
Sizzle.
And you can find this on Max.
Oh, yeah.
Streaming.
Yes. Stream it on Max or not. We'll find out.
Why don't you just look it up?
Google that shit. What are we here for?
All right. So, Friday the 13th. In 1958, a year after a boy gets killed. I mean, no,
he like
drowned,
totally gets unalived.
Unalived. We don't
from
want to
the lake.
canceled.
He drinks too much of the water.
Don't drink the water.
So Jason is special. That's the thing. Like, it's like the undercurrent. They don't like explicitly say it. Yeah, he's a kid that needed assistance and.
But anyway, constant supervision, as his mom said. So.
Does he have an IEP?
Probably. I don't know. I wasn't the kid's teacher. Okay, so they open up and there's counselors singing, having a good time, and two of them go off the screen, go off from the crowd. And fun fact, one of them was a behind the scenes person who was like, ooh, I want to get killed. And so he was the first one to get killed in the movie.
Oh.
And
the blonde
his name
guy?
was Willie Adams.
Oh.
Go Willie.
So
Kumbaya, my lord.
They get killed, and then it cuts to present day. Now, of course, present day is like 1980 because it was May then.
But the problem is they didn't change any haircuts whatsoever.
Right, everything was
it looks like the 90s still.
The first deaths in the 80s, the last deaths also 80s.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to believe it's the 50s.
Yeah. At some point.
Because the yellow, I guess. I don't know.
Yellow is a 50s
the wholesome
color.
music too, maybe. I don't know.
Is that why you're wearing it?
Oh, yeah, I guess I know. Yeah.
So then they cut to present day. There's a girl, a little lost. She's trying to find a ride to Camp Crystal Lake because apparently she couldn't get a ride past a certain town. I think she was a hitchhiker to begin with.
Yeah.
So she walks into this diner. Everyone's like, no, don't go there. And then one guy's like, oh, yeah, I'll take you. So they go out, and then there's this crazy guy, literally crazy. He's like, don't go to Camp Blood. And there's a reason why he said that was because the working title was actually called A Long Night at Camp Blood.
Oh.
So, and that was just the working title.
So there's going to be a kids camp called Camp Blood, and they're like, would people believe that they wouldn't change the name?
Yeah,
I mean, they have Baton Rouge, which means basically the same thing.
Well, if you think about it, the title's not Camp Crystal Lake. It's Friday the 13th.
Yeah. They never mentioned the date.
They mentioned it at the very, very end.
Very end.
The date?
That it was Friday the 13th.
Oh. I knew they said something about it being like Friday.
They're like filming it and they're like, oh shit, we didn't say this.
We never said Friday the 13th.
That is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
They were like, crap, we need to put that Friday the 13th in there somewhere because that's the freaking title of the movie. How is anybody going to know it's Friday the 13th? So there was like a very snippet at the very end when the mother is doing her monologue about like, you know, why she was killing all these people. Betsy Palmer, to be exact.
So like serial killers in the movies have to have dates like Halloween. It's like, shit, I need a date now. February. My Bloody Valentine. It's like...
So anyway, the girl gets the truck driver. She gets in the truck driver. She gets in the car with the truck driver.
No survival skills.
No survivor skills whatsoever. This guy's creepy. He's like trying to like hoist her up with like
just grabs her ass and throws her up there. You're like, come on up. Here we go. No bad intentions here.
Right. And then of course like there's back and forth and she's like, yeah, I'm going to be cooking for
Everybody
like 50 kids at the, you know, Camp Crystal Lake or whatever. And he's like, oh, you shouldn't do that. Da, da, da. So then he's like, I'm going as far as here, which was a cemetery, by the way.
Yeah.
I drop off a lot of people.
I thought that cemetery would have played in a little bit more, to be honest, but I also didn't expect her to die immediately.
Especially since it's called Hope, New Jersey.
Right.
Which somebody really thought highly of New Jersey at one point.
Whoever made that mistake.
Yeah. So then you see her walking along some more. Of course, they like cut to the next group of kids who are like actually have a truck and who are driving to Camp Crystal Lake. But then they cut back to the girl. She gets into a Jeep. And then she tells the lady, or no, she tells whoever is in the Jeep. I don't know if it's a lady until the end.
Well.
But, you know.
Spoilers.
She's like,
we don't have any of those.
She said something and then she's like, oh, I don't call the children kids. But clearly she does because she just literally said that like 5 minutes ago to the truck driver.
I call them our babies.
Oh my God, don't even go there.
You struck
it's
a
our
nerve.
babies.
You struck a chord.
Anyway, so they cut back to the thing. The camp counselors are there. They're getting the camp ready. They're doing all sorts of random shit as camp counselors do before the kids get there. Have you ever been a camp counselor? Which I have. So yeah.
So what does happen?
Yeah. I've never been a camp counselor.
Neither have I.
What?
Did you like smoke weed and have sex on?
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's what happens in the movie.
Doing.
Well, no. Okay, so that's later on in the night.
So
For you or them?
For them.
You just said that's what they do.
You made
I was
it
a camp
so like
counselor.
relatable.
Well, I was talking about like them putting together the lake thing, like, you know, moving the things onto the lake. And
oh, that part.
Yeah.
Not all the sex and drugs and drinking and strip monopoly.
Not that I have experienced as a camp counselor.
She just likes to watch.
All right, I'm done. I'm done. No, just kidding. All right. So anyway, so then there's this one scene that comes up that Tom Savini, and it was quoted from him, that said that he this happened to him in a cabin before during filming, and where there was a snake, and he grabs. It was a pet in the movie. It was a pet of somebody on the set. And he's like, oh, can I borrow your snake? Didn't tell them that it was going to get killed by a machete.
I can't believe that happened. I can't believe the actor was like, yeah, let me just chop up a snake with a machete. Knowing
they could have done
it's
an off.
pet.
Yeah, like nobody really needed to see a snake
God.
die. They could have just done an off screen where they see the machete going down and you hear the thump and that's it.
I'm sorry. Watching that and just seeing them chop up a snake, like a live snake, was bad enough. But knowing that that was somebody's pet.
Yeah, when I read that, I was just like, oh my God, that's even worse than anything in the world.
What if his name was like Schnuffles or something?
And that's probably why they have PETA on the set now and just like all these regulations because of people like him.
God. I mean, he was just out of Vietnam like 10 years ago. Like, so he's probably just like completely unfazed by this.
And again, it probably was just like, oh, this is going to be funny, but maybe he never intended for it to get like killed, and they just left it in there. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't figure out if he knew that and then they killed it and he's like, oh shit, I said I was going to borrow it. What did you guys do? Because he's a special effects guy. So when he's off camera, he's working on special effects. He's not thinking, hey.
Right.
I don't know. I'd have to get the story.
Yeah. I need to know the details behind that.
So Tom Savini, if you're listening, please contact us.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. One Pittsburgher to another. Maybe I should just go up there, visit my friend, and just knock on his door.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Be like, hey, man.
Do you want to repent?
So then, of course, like in any kind of slasher horror movie, everybody gets picked off one by one. And then we find out who the killer is at the very end of the movie, which, spoiler alert, it is Jason. And Juliana... No, it's not Jason. It's Jason's mother. Damn it! I need a slip of a tongue.
Oh my gosh, you would have died. You would have died in Scream.
Now I am
like a fish.
We'd both be dead.
Yeah.
I guess.
Before first time watching this movie, I thought the murderer was Jason. That's like the Friday the 13th staple dude is Jason. So,
Right. But
so
you didn't show up until
explain the fact that it's not ha ha ha. It's ki ma ma ma. Why?
Okay, because it's actually like if you kill ma ma ma. Jason's telling his mom to kill, and it's pretty much like a reverse Psycho.
Kill her, mommy.
Did he like possess his mom? Is that the gist I was getting?
So in the beginning, I think the intention is that she was possessed by the spirit of her son.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's why the son spirit ghost drags her into the water. And she's like, you didn't see him? You didn't see him? Da da da. But then the movie takes on a different role in the part 2.
Well, because like really they wanted to have this Alice, or Alice is her character's name. Adrian King is her actual name. They wanted her to actually be like a Laurie Strode, where she just keeps coming back and he just keeps on haunting her and stuff like that. But after the first movie, she ended up getting stalked.
Oh.
In real life?
In real life. Because of the movie,
really?
Because of her fame. So she's like,
sucks.
you know what? I'm out. I don't want to do this. I'm done.
That's super fair.
According to Nick, that was the best decision ever.
Well, I don't like her character way it's written. It's so flat. It is so flat. There's no depth to her character whatsoever. No build.
Well, like, and if you watch the other movies as well, like, I don't know how they would try to incorporate her back into it. I mean, she can keep coming back.
Well,
every
they did, but spoiler alert: in part 2, you're going to find out what happens to her in the beginning.
Yeah, but still, it's just like a little snippet, and then never hear from her again.
Well,
wow. So I do have a question, since I haven't seen the rest of the whatever. If Jason's just this little fucking boy at the bottom of a lake, where do we get that dude that's on your shirt with the like hockey mask?
So basically what ends up happening is the original intention is like he's like the spirit ghost of himself that's constantly going after campers, but then they're like, nah, we're gonna make it to where he actually survived, really. And then he's like he actually worships his mother, so now his mother's in his head.
Right.
And then that develops into other things.
Right, and he doesn't even get the hockey mask until part 3.
Yeah.
Whoa.
He has a
sack.
And he's not that, like, he actually isn't that threatening looking in the second one. He's just like a dude going after you with a burlap sack on his head. Like, I'm not even joking, that's it.
Yeah.
So, but the third one, I love the kills because there's one I just fucking root for every time.
Oh yeah,
every
that
time.
guy.
Like
Maybe
Ned.
You think Ned is bad? Ned is nothing compared to this guy.
We'll have to review that one because that's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna need to watch these now because I was highly entertained and incredibly fucking pissed off with Ned. I'm so glad he died first. I gotta be so honest. I was keeping tally of how many things he did that pissed me off.
Oh God.
And, there's
Juliana.
a ton. No, honestly, I was about to jump through that screen and off of myself. So thank God he went first.
I mean, for the only thing that really bothered me was the arrow to the target. Everything else, I'm like, Ned, you jokester.
See, I think the arrow set him off real bad in my brain. So then everything else that could have been seen as like, oh, ha ha ha, Ned, was just, you fucking bastard. You shot an arrow at her, completely irresponsible. And then everything else after that was just fucking Ned.
Yeah.
All right.
So screenplay, what do you guys say to that?
I rated it a 9 out of 10. I thought it was a very good classic kind of horror film, but it was still, not expecting Mama Voorhees at all. Yeah. It was actually, very interesting to have an old woman, like not old, but an older woman be the main villain and whatnot. That was very cool.
And funny enough, she threw away the script when she first got it. And she's like, I'm not doing this movie because it was just that awful, I guess, to her. But then eventually she's like, oh shit, I want to get a car. I want this. And she wasn't getting any other offers. So she's like, okay, what the hell? And this is one of her actual more known roles.
I was going to say she did.
Oh, she acted
anyone.
yeah.
She's the one that did a great job.
I love that smile.
Yeah.
Pops open that pantry door.
Here's Johnny. Yeah. No, I thought the story itself was written very well and very simple, very simplistic, but done very well.
Yeah, I gave it a 10 because, again, it's just, especially for the time, now we see it a lot more, but for that time, it was just very creative and stuff like that.
So funny enough, I was going between 7 or 8, but I went with 7 out of 10 because everything was great. It was the first thing. It incorporated kind of like a giallo mystery to it. Like, you don't know who it is. You see the hand, you see the killing and all that stuff, the Italian giallos. But the character depth really bothers me. The flat. Every character, you don't feel any kind of all right, they're just all fodder. So, I mean, there's some between the guy who I guess is managing the camp and our final girl, but beyond that, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you're right. They kind of didn't develop a lot of the relationships at all before they just started killing people off. But
I think that
I don't think I cared. I was just kind of
as long as Ned was dead.
As long as Ned was dead, literally.
I know,
Ned was the only one. I was like,
I know that'll come up in my ratings later, but I put that more under the
acting
part.
Yeah, same
because
here.
I feel like there could have been more.
But
they just didn't
more.
deliver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, go to direction.
Well, I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Same.
I gave it 8.
There wasn't a lot of basis for them to use except for maybe Texas Chainsaw. Texas Chainsaw, in comparison, the actors did a better job due to direction on how you should act when getting killed or attacked or whatnot. There was a few that were naturalistic. It's hard to give a proper critique because so many things happen off camera. But overall, things felt very natural, so I gave it a 9 out of 10. I only dinged it because it was there could have been a little bit better on certain things. Like, hey, if someone's going to get killed, I don't know. They're not going to go,
Yeah, the thing the thing that really bugged me was Alice was running into the building, shutting off lights, even though you can clearly, it was in the middle of the night where you can clearly say, okay, she's in that building.
Right.
Because she just shut off the lights.
She just kept running into the
and looking
building
out
after
the
building.
window.
Right.
Yeah. And honestly, I should have dinged it more because the lighting, she had a lantern. The lights are off from the generator.
Mm-hmm.
They're lit up just perfectly lit.
Yeah.
Everything is lit. And I'm like, I know you're trying to get your person lit, but there's better ways to do this.
Well, and I feel I don't know if there was just some of the hiding, even when she was in the houses, when she went into that corner and then stood there for a few seconds and then left the corner and started wandering around. I was like, girl, what are we doing? What is the point of hiding in a corner and then not hiding in that corner and then walking around and then doing all of this?
Right.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of, are we supposed to, and this is kind of going back to screenplay a little bit, were we supposed to assume that Jason's mom stole the Jeep, drove over to pick up the hitchhiker, killed her in the forest, then drove back?
I think it's a different Jeep.
Well, technically,
it's probably because they had the budget.
It's technically the same. Right. It's technically the same Jeep, but we're supposed to think it's two different Jeeps.
I thought
so it is supposed to be two.
But I thought it was a different Jeep because his Jeep was left with a trailer.
Right.
His had the trailer on it.
Right. But it was technically the same Jeep, but
like
it
the
was
same model.
No, like the same exact.
They just used it twice.
Got
it.
Because
can we go over the numbers real quick? $550,000 in 1980s money.
Yes, and the worst part about it was like 18th highest grossing film in 1980s.
Yeah.
Wow.
People are bloodlusting.
Well, if you think about it though, like looking up at the 1980s horror films that came out that year, The Shining, Dress to Kill, Prom Night, The Fog. So they had a lot of competition. But they still made a boatload of money.
How much did they make?
They made 550,000 50
I thought that was
million.
50 million?
40 mil. Yeah, 50 million.
It made loads of money for the investment.
Oh, duh. Made about 60 million.
Wow.
20 internationally and 40 domestically.
Wow.
Yeah, which was 106 times their budget of their movie.
Damn.
Yeah, and the thing is like I was trying to look up to see if I wasn't out of my mind, but I think they filmed it with 16 millimeter documentary cameras back then. And the reason why that's significant is the fact that it was cheaper. So I'm trying to figure out how they got a $550,000 budget off of a campground, a handful of actors, and a camera guy pretending to stab people.
Yeah.
Well, it was never explicitly said, but the camp that they used was No Be Bo Sco in New Jersey, which is a Boy Scout camp, and they gave a donation to them. We don't know how much the donation was, but I'm pretty sure it was very hefty.
I feel like it's money laundering because the Texas Chainsaw was produced by the mob. Like it was basically like these guys are just funneling money through with I think it was Toby Hooper. Don't quote me on that.
Well, let's not get into that because I don't want the mob coming after me.
Well, no, they're good investors. I need to make a horror film. I don't care where the money comes from, but if I can get my money movie made. Mob. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I take it back.
Segueing to the acting.
Acting, I gave a 6 out of 10.
I gave a 6 out of 10 as well.
I think the one who carried it is Mama Voorhees. The rest of them, forgettable, annoying, fucking Ed.
Like even...
I gave it an 8 out of 10, though, for the Speedo.
Even Kevin Bacon's
That's the
Speedo.
diamond.
Where I had to explain the Speedo.
The diamond shape.
Yes.
I had to explain how one dresses.
Well, if you look at one of the frames, it like there was a Speedo and then there was like a diamond shape on it, and me and Juliana were like, what the hell?
What is that?
It's just because there's like a yellow stripe and then there's not a yellow stripe on the other side, and there's obviously imprint because it's a Speedo. So I had to get up and start explaining with the pencil going, okay, here is the testicle.
Literally
here is the penis.
mansplaining.
And then here is, this is where a man can splain. It's like.
Yeah, it was kind of helpful because I was like, oh, okay.
And I'm like, and since it leans over to the right, he dresses to the right. So if you ever go to a tailor, young gentlemen who have not gotten a suit tailored, they may ask you, how do you dress? They're asking, where do you hang, right or left? So that way they can give you a little bit extra slack to hang that way. But yeah, 8 out of 10 for acting.
Oh, that's what it meant in Girls Just Want to Have Fun. There was a part with Jonathan Silverman. He was getting a tux made, and they were like, the guy's like, do you dress left or right? And he's like, I get out of the bed on the right side, so I dress right. And then like
Taylor's probably looking at him weird.
Few minutes, then and then I guess he realizes, what you just said.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I just left.
Usually the tailor will put his finger and kind of go left or right. So, and then it's like, oh, yeah.
I just kind of brushed it off like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's that?
Funny enough,
Anyway, I'm just a girl.
because of the movie Taylor at Panama, I learned that. Like, that's what that meant. And because Pierce Brosnan's character replies, well, actually, it's off screen, but the Taylor talks about how Pierce Brosnan described himself, and he's like, I've never heard it called a windsock. Oh, jeez.
But so,
yeah.
No, I thought what you were saying about the screenplay, I was thinking about the acting, just very flat. Like even like the screams, you know, like the typical horror movie. It was like the one girl in the beginning who got her neck slashed, which is like,
terrible. The first girl, the very, very first girl did great. Like that.
Yes. It
felt really panicky.
Right. Yeah, the blonde.
Yeah.
But yeah, the hitchhiker girl was just like,
well, like, and Adrienne King, she actually got cast because of her scream.
Yeah, I was gonna say she did a good job.
Oh yeah, she did fine.
Yeah, it's just, and a lot of it was off screen. If you look at it, again, where was the budget? Like, that's $550,000.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it was in special effects.
I was gonna say special effects. I rated 8 out of 10.
I mean, you see what I do, and that does not cost me.
I mean,
you give me $550,000, we're gonna have a horror film. It's gonna be something.
I don't know. Some of the special effects were pretty good.
Oh yeah, they're
Axe to the face.
10. I gave it 10 out of 10. There was one time when he actually had to improvise with Kevin Bacon. It wasn't coming out.
Yeah.
And so he had to like blow through the tube. And it like had it.
Oh yeah, that's why there's a spurt.
Oh, that's why there's like a spurt of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that one was the most. That one and the axe to the head, I think, were the most like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know.
Heebie-jeebies.
So Tom Savini, the reason why he's like one of the special effects kings out there, arguably one of the best, if not the best. It just depends. There's so many good guys out there, but Tom Savini is one of the top dogs. And the reason why is because he was a war photographer in Vietnam. So now he's like 10 years out and he's doing movies like this and using his experiences and what he knows what the human body will look like and do with certain wounds in special effects. And the reason for the blowing into that, if I remember correctly, was the fact that he wanted it to be where the body was it was naturally trying to breathe. So it wanted to gurgle the blood out, but he kind of blew it a little bit too hard. It doesn't spurt that far out. But yeah, that's where you get all that. And even then with like latex and everything else, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I gave it a 9 out of 10. He is phenomenal. A lot of tricks of the trade are used to this day, even by magicians, of certain ways he's been able to create these gadgets, knives, ways of creating the wounds. Or he just straight up does it. Like in Maniac, he just got a shotgun and said, okay, we're going to shoot the head. And he also acts too. So have you ever seen him in things like From Dusk Till Dawn? He's the guy with the cock gun. It's a revolver. He just swings it out. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I remember reading that like they, because of all the blood and gore and all the special effects in this one and the second one, they were asked to tone it down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah, I mean, for back then, that was pretty, But I mean, a lot of it's implied, though. It's only like quick flashes. I mean, Kevin's was like the worst one of the bunch. I think.
That one was hard to watch.
And I think he even had trouble during that scene, Kevin Bacon, like getting into the position of the right way.
Because he has to be like this and you have the fake
laying down,
whatever.
Fake jugular.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't look fake at all. It looked really good. There were a couple of things though, like some of the arrows to the face. I was like, and then I don't know why, but Mama Voorhees, when she was doing the flashbacks to Jason drowning, I was like, okay.
She's gonna be coming after you next.
No,
making fun of my kid drowning.
Driving home. What was that? Help me! No.
She slowly comes up from behind you.
So, fun fact, Bill is actually Bing Crosby's son.
No way.
Really?
Yeah.
He's got some stories.
And he was playing guitar at one point, and he was actually playing it.
I was wondering, because I was like, that sounds good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But he didn't want to like be like, oh, I'm Bing Crosby's son, so give me a job. So he, of course, tried to do what like Jamie Lee Curtis did and was like, oh, you know.
Oh, yeah, because she didn't want to be, I mean, both of her parents are super famous.
Who are her parents?
Their parents. They're famous.
Oh.
I forgot what off the top of my head.
They're so famous.
Wasn't her mom in Psycho?
Oh, yeah, that's right. She's the lead of Psycho.
Psycho.
I've never seen Psycho.
God, this is bad. My mind's blanking because I was focused on this.
I know. I sprung it on you. I'm so sorry.
No, I mean, it's stuff that I should know right off the top of my head because, it's basic facts. This is stuff where, like, if there was bar trivia, I would have to wear the dunce cap for not knowing it. Oh, my gosh. We're going to say it's
Tony Curtis and Janet Leigh.
Thank you. Hence the Jamie.
And Tony
Lee Curtis.
Tony Curtis was a famous actor back in, like, and this is like back.
Yeah, because Jamie Lee Curtis is how old now? She's
older, yeah.
She's pretty old.
I mean, it's been years since the Activia commercials, and then she was kind of... However, if you ever seen True Lies, oh my God.
No.
Wowzers.
Some Like It Hot. That's the movie. Some Like It Hot.
Oh,
that was one of his famous movies.
Yeah. That's a big one.
I really like Jamie Lee Curtis in Freaky Friday.
Oh, yeah. You got to see True Lies. You got to see True Lies.
Yeah, and Some Like It Hot was like 1959. Yeah. So.
All right. So what do we rate it overall?
Overall, I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
Yeah.
And of course, I'd keep it.
Yeah, same thing. 9 out of 10. Keep. It's I mean, everything from historical to Kevin Bacon's one of his first ever films. It's a absolute keep.
I think I gave it an 8 out of 10, and I would also keep it because that was really good. Honestly, some of the jump scares got me, and I wasn't expecting them to. I think I was a little biased towards like an older horror film. I was not expecting like a slasher to get me a couple of times, and it did.
Well, now that if anybody ever calls you and says, what's your favorite scary movie? And you say Friday the 13th, and then you're asked a trivia question about it.
Jason.
You just saw the movie.
You're talking about Halloween Part 2, right?
Halloween Part 2?
Yes.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Some like horror fan in the background. I'll gut you like a fish. What the hell?
Just kidding. Just kidding.
What was the guy's name that like was briefly in Weekend at Bernie's?
Skeet
Ulrich. Yeah, Skeet Ulrich.
Who was one of the killers in Scream.
Yeah. He was. Wow, we had like a lot of ties throughout these movies. I wonder if we can tie High School Musical to it.
Skeet Ulrich was also an extra. He just went like this and one of the choreographies and walked.
We see Jason was drowning in the country.
You see the fake Vanessa Hudgens jump into the water.
We see Mrs. Voorhees and like,
Yeah, that was Mr. Fulton's wife. That's why he was so depressed.
God. That would be kind of funny. Get the same actors from High School Musical, but to do a slasher.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
But it's a musical.
It's a musical slasher.
I just got killed.
Mangled in the face.
Yeah.
Someone take my place. Oh, man. That's good.
It's good. All right. Well, that should do our 3 films. Actually, our normal format is supposed to be 2 films, but we keep on doing 3. So who knows, man? We'll keep it 3. Maybe we'll go back to 2. I'm not sure. But we hope you keep on listening. Definitely check out our TikTok at keep.stream.skip. Also, Keep Stream Skip on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. We're still setting everything up, so please bear with us. And if you have any thoughts or you want to ask us any questions or anything like that, or maybe you have any movie suggestions of things streaming that's just weird, let us know. Let us know where it's at. You can do that at keepstreamskip@gmail.com. Otherwise, any final thoughts? Well, everybody, you have a good one.
All right. Bye.
Bye.